Hi, I'm Rachel Abbott, and welcome back to the Standard's Tech and Science Daily. If you're new here, make sure to give us a rating and a follow. Coming up, the football pitch-sized asteroid now under close observation. But first,
I grew up in a family of software engineers. My mother taught me how to program computers when I was 10 years old. I've been writing code and creating technology ever since.
Ahti Heinla there, entrepreneur, technologist and engineer, a former co-founder of the video call platform Skype, and now in its 10th year, the CEO of grocery delivery AI robots firm Starship Technologies. The company now operates in the USA, Finland, Estonia, Germany, Denmark and the UK. In the UK, Starship currently delivers to thousands of households in Leeds, Manchester, Cambridge and Milton Keynes. But they say new laws meant to progress their technology, that's the Automated Vehicles Act, don't go far enough.
In terms of the regulation, I would say that in terms of regulation, UK is behind some of the other countries. In terms of the overall e-commerce maturity, UK is ahead. UK is the most mature e-commerce market in Europe. That's why also Starship wants to be in UK and wants to cover the whole of UK with our delivery service. But the regulation is not covering nationwide right now. That is an issue for us.
Earlier in January, they made history by presenting their robot in Parliament to the Department for Science, Innovation and Technology Select Committee at a backdrop event to the UK's new AI Opportunities Action Plan. With so much focus on generative AI, they are calling on the government to not leave behind embodied artificial intelligence and to support autonomous technology too, with better regulation, which Starship says would encourage economic growth and cut carbon emissions.
We work with regulators and governments in all of the countries where we operate, and generally we are looking for places where the government or the regulators have created an environment where it is clear under which rules you can operate the robots on the pavement. And that is the case, for example, in Japan, in most of US, in Finland, Estonia. These are some of the countries that have created nationwide regulation on, if you want to operate robots on the pavement, then you need to adhere to these and these, safety standards and whatever other things the regulator puts in, and then you can do it. In UK, there's no such national framework, but we work with the individual councils. But I hope actually that the UK government, especially with the AI action plan, I clearly hope that the new government is actually taking this on and making sure that there is a clear nationwide regulation on this.
Another of the company's key asks is for an urgent update to current highway laws, which date back to 1835. Now, in my opinion, the robots look sort of like a Disney Pixar WALL-E, but how do Starship's robots work?
There is, of course, a lot of technology in the robots. There is 10 cameras, there are radars, and a bunch of other sensors in the robot. And the robot uses these sensors and AI, machine learning, to make sense of the environment. The robot drives on the pavement, it looks around and it sees that, okay, there is a pedestrian, and there's somebody with a pram here, and there's a car coming here, and then makes intelligent decisions about where to go, where to stop, where to park itself, and so forth. It has taken 10 years to build this. We are in the same autonomous driving space as the autonomous driving cars.
Next, the European Space Agency is actively monitoring an asteroid named 2024 YR4. The asteroid measures 100 metres by 40 metres, so roughly the length of a football pitch, and is currently at around 27 million miles and moving away from our planet. However, it's due to cross Earth's orbit on the 22nd of December 2032. ESA says the space rock has an almost 99% chance of safely passing us, but a possible impact cannot yet be entirely ruled out. In their press release, ESA says that asteroid 2024 YR4 is now rated at level 3 on the Torino Impact Hazard Scale, so a close encounter that warrants attention from astronomers and the public. The Space Mission Planning Advisory Group will discuss the latest asteroid observations at a meeting in Vienna next week. Next, speaking at Meta's first quarter earnings call on Wednesday, boss Mark Zuckerberg appears to have shrugged off the recent DeepSeek shake-up and has said the tech giant will continue to invest very heavily in AI, even hundreds of billions of dollars over the long term. US President Donald Trump said on Monday that the events were a wake-up call for America's AI industry. According to TechCrunch, Zuckerberg considers DeepSeek a new competitor and is learning from it, but it's way too early to tell if demand for chips will stop increasing, as they remain crucial for inference purposes, noting that Meta has billions of users. Meta are currently working towards their Llama 4 model release, which he expects to have agentic capabilities, which both OpenAI and Anthropic have moved into. Welcome back. According to a recent poll, almost half of women in the UK are intentionally putting off important cervical screenings, despite 83% also saying they believe they prevent cervical cancer. They say that embarrassment, at 42%, was the leading factor as to why smear tests were being purposely skipped.
It's a 3 minute, if that, procedure to be able to get over. So we're here to be able to just remove the fear factor and make sure that many, many women do not miss their smear tests. About 3,100 women are getting cervical cancer a year, and it is the most common cancer for women under the age of 35.
That's Jenny Halpern Prince, MBE, co-founder of the charity the Lady Garden Foundation, who are behind the recent poll and are trying to help combat some of the myths.
What we need to be able to do, and it hasn't been done enough, is to be able to just spread the word about what is potentially gynae cancer. Is it just for an old person? Because that's a myth. That's not true. Is it for an older person over the age of 50? Is it a perimenopausal thing? That's a myth. So it is down to us, we feel like, to be able to put it in a different way to women, which is a way in which they feel they can relate to, they can understand, and that they're not put under this massive fear factor.
Tech and Science Daily also spoke to Vicky Ellis, aged 35, from Eastbourne. Vicky had not heard much about cervical cancer until Jade Goody's public diagnosis in 2008, but at just 23 years old, Vicky began experiencing 3 out of the 4 main symptoms of cervical cancer.
The reason why I went with the symptoms, where I kept getting checked out, were the pain during intercourse and irregular discharge. But I was pushed aside because I didn't have the main one, which they told me was the irregular bleeding. That's why I got ignored. But I had the symptoms for 2 years and just continuously got checked for STIs. I got pushed to sexual health clinics. It was just embarrassment after embarrassment for me. And I knew that something was wrong with my body. I knew it wasn't right. Like, something had changed.
Vicky then underwent an MRI, colposcopy, and biopsy of her cervix and received her diagnosis of cervical cancer and was referred to the Royal Marsden for surgery, where the cancer was successfully removed. Despite the successful outcome, Vicky has been left with long-lasting effects. Lacking guidance on gynecological health during her own upbringing, Vicky is committed to ensuring her daughter has a better foundation. Vicky has already begun having age-appropriate conversations with her to provide a basic understanding. Next, a small number of cans of Coca-Cola have been recalled in the UK after testing abroad revealed elevated levels of the chemical chlorate. Chlorate is a byproduct of the breakdown of chlorine-based sanitizers and chlorine chemicals, which are frequently used to sterilize water. According to Food Standards Scotland, it can cause iodine deficiency in people and is regulated with legal maximum residue limits for a range of foods, including fresh produce. All affected cans have the production codes from 328 GE to 338 GE, which can be found on the base of the can. And finally, the UK's National Trust has said that Storm Éowyn toppled more than 10,000 trees across their sites. Winds of up to 100 miles per hour on Friday, coupled with heavy rain to soften the ground, caused the loss of historically important trees across Northern Ireland and Northern England. At Rowell Lane Garden in Saintfield, County Down, irreplaceable specimen trees, some more than 250 years old, were lost, leaving areas of the estate almost unrecognisable. And that's Tech and Science Daily. This podcast will return tomorrow afternoon. For all the latest news, head to standard.co.uk.